We are live here for Chicago Bears Now on YouTube and on Rumble, and shout out to Manscaped for sponsoring today's show. You got Bush? Well, you shouldn't any longer. Head over to manscaped.com, use promo code BEARS20. That'll get you 20% off plus free shipping. Welcome back. Welcome in, everybody. I'm your host, Harrison Graham. Hope everybody had a safe 4th. Obviously, thoughts to everybody in the Highland Park area, in Chicago area. Yesterday, just another tragic event, but hope everybody's hanging in there and doing okay. I know a lot of you guys live in the greater Chicago area, so I wanted to mention that. Shout out your city. Let us know where you guys are watching from, and we'll get some shout-outs coming in here. Bobby Smith says Julio to the Packers. I hope not, because I'm hitting Julio on this show. FGB from Andrew. We got, yes, wins beyond. Absolutely. Bear down, prayers up for Highland Park. Crazy here. We got Austin, Texas from Travis. Let's see. Where y'all watching from? Matt Nagy says Kansas City. Coach is back in the chat. James Thomas in Essex, UK. What's good? I'll actually be heading to Europe tonight. I'll tell you guys a little bit about that later on in the show. Ian Rowley says Michigan. We got Mark in Bartlett, Illinois. Legends in Richmond, Virginia. Rob Henry in St. Albans, West Virginia. Matthew in Tampa Bay, Florida. Joliet, Illinois from Jeremy. Enosh, Utah. We got Conway, South Carolina. Las Vegas from John Russell. P. House is Atlanta. Say what? Where's Sangray Kim? I don't know. Justin Fields is in the title, and he didn't decide to show up, I guess. Vikings land, but bear down from Wins Beyond. We love to see that. Travis Dunaway says North Austin. Callie from Daryl. We got Apopka, Florida from Chris, and then Bobby up in Wisconsin. All right, you guys know what to do. Type FGB in the chat. Just feeling a little, just a little rivalry energy today. Get the FGBs going. You know what it stands for. F Green Bay. Come on, let's go. Let's get it. Get the live chat lit. Philip says FGB. Tyler in there. Rob, the Gabe. Tyler again. Chaz, Richard, Legends, Mark. We got Rob Henry, Philip, Chris Ashford. We got Benjamin, Denise, Travis, Wins Beyond, Rodney, Benjamin, Ivan, the Lego Brothers, Damon, Daryl, Howard, Jerome, Matthew, Allen, Travis, Benjamin, Roseland, Ian, Matt Nagy says Heart KC. Listen, man, just because you got ran out of Chicago, Coach, doesn't mean you can't type FGB, okay? Amos says FGB. Chaz says FGB. FGB bear down from Alberto. Evan says FGB. So does Craig. Keep the FGBs rolling on today's show. All right, take a guess. Will Justin Fields pan out as the Bears franchise quarterback? Y for yes, N for no. This is our live poll question. 93% of you think he will. I do as well. Give me a Y for yes or give me an N for no. Will Justin Fields pan out as the Bears franchise quarterback? Come on, let's hear it. Let me know what you guys think. Robert says yes. So does Ian. Tyler, Richard, Langston says yes. Rodney, Ian. We got Benjamin, the Gabe, saying yes, absolutely from Daryl, maybe from Denise, FGB from Amber. Patrick says M, I guess for maybe. History would say no. You know what, the red pillow? You're actually right. But we're here to break history. Rob Henry says yes. Dennis says yes. Travis says yes. Amos says yes. Bobby says Justin Fields. No, Bobby. The Gabe says 100%. Carl says yes. Hopefully he's the guy. Hopefully Justin Fields is the guy. All right, what's your favorite vacation spot? It's the summertime, maybe you're hitting a beach, maybe you're traveling, it's the summer of whatever your last name is. That's what I'm told. So what's your favorite vacation spot? Let us know in the chat, and I'll get some shout-outs here. Favorite vacation spot, Florida from Tyler Smith. Gulf Shores from Travis. Destin, Florida. Do love me some Destin. Been there once or twice. Chicago from Ian. Siesta Key, Florida. Mountain Lakes for fishing from Snowden. That sounds fun. Ian says Chicago. Jaden says Florida. Door County, Wisconsin. Jamaica. Was supposed to go there for my honeymoon. That actually ties into where I'm about to travel. Arizona from Mark. A couple of Chicagos in there. Maui, Hawaii. Producer Jack, who's usually with us, is in Hawaii right now. We got producer Coop today. Bear Lake, Utah. North Shore. You're good, Coop. You don't have to apologize. The Philippines from Jim Brewer. Pushing P, baby. Let's go. Maddie, Wisconsin. The reason I ask, I am actually traveling to Italy. I fly out tonight, little connector in London, and then I will be in Italy for the next 2 weeks. Don't worry, we'll have videos that go out from me, and you might see one of our other hosts here at Chat Sports, Matthew Peterson, for a few videos as well. He's actually from the Chicago area, so he's going to be filling in, doing a few shows as well. We'll have you covered. I'll be back July, I believe, 18th or 19th, somewhere in there, next 2 Tuesdays from now. So no live show next week. The Tuesday after that, we'll be back, and then training camp will almost be here. So the wife and I, we actually had our honeymoon scrapped because of the pandemic. We still went on a trip, but we were supposed to go to Jamaica, got that money back. Now we're using this money to go to Europe, to Italy. So we're fired up. I've never left the country, so that's where I'll be. Hey, if you're lucky enough, I might do a little Q&A from Italy. That would be some fun. Be on the lookout for that, but I will be out of town, off the grid. All right, if you love the Bears, like this video, hit that thumbs up icon, and then we'll hop into today's show. By the way, at 4 o'clock Central Time, we will go live on Call-In. So after our YouTube and Rumble stream, we will be ready for that. Like this video if you are ready. We have to get to 75 likes, producer Coop says. We're at 50 right now. Chaz says, have fun, bro. Philip says, just in time for training camp. Yeah, I'll be back just over a week before training camp, so we're good. Schedule my vacation strategically on purpose. Don Burr says FCHI, so there you go. H. Bark says, hey, you'll be back on my birthday. What a great gift. Hey, H. Bark, I'm here for the people. Did I plan it that way? Maybe. That's people are talking on that front. Need 10 more likes. Like the video. Daryl says, safe travels, great food. Appreciate that. Take plenty of pictures, Alan. Yeah, maybe I'll keep you guys updated on Instagram, at HGramNFL. I'll post some stuff over there, so stay tuned for that as well. 74 likes, we get one more, and we are good to go. Appreciate you guys for liking it. Snowden has liked it. Enjoy the time off. L2 Cloud with the sad emoji. L2, I'll be back. Don't worry. All right, we crossed 75 likes. Appreciate all of that. Here's what's coming up on Chicago Bears Now. The latest news and rumors, including a couple juicy rumors. Live Q&A, hashtag Bears or Super Chat. We'll answer your questions. 5 reasons to believe in Justin Fields. We'll do a segment on that as well. Then, as I just mentioned a moment ago, Bears Now on Call-In. We'll go live exclusively on Call-In, answer your questions for 30, 35 minutes, and then we will call it a day here at Chicago Bears Now. All of that and more is coming up, so stay tuned. We're ready to rock here on Bears Now. Welcome into Chicago Bears Now by Chat Sports. I am your host, Harrison Graham, getting you guys caught up on the latest Chicago Bears news and some rumors as well. So buckle up, lock in, because we got a jam-packed show to get to for you guys. All right, we'll start with this. Could the Chicago Bears go out and sign Julio Jones? Two smoking Jays, it's certainly possible. I could see it happening. 50-50, maybe that's a little high, but certainly a chance because he is a free agent, and the Bears could certainly use another receiver, especially a veteran presence. Bleacher Report proposed this idea. They dropped an article of one move every NFL team should make before Week 1, suggested that the Bears should go out and sign Julio, and something we've talked about this offseason is that the Bears do have legitimate question marks at the wide receiver position. You know what I say here in the first week of July? Let's freaking do it, man. Why not? Why not go out and sign Julio Jones? How fun would that be? Like, certainly Julio has had some injury problems over the past few years, and he's missed a lot of time in these past 2 seasons. You see last year, just 434 yards and a touchdown, just 3 touchdowns the year before. But when he's healthy, he's still productive. Like 2019's not that long ago, and he had 1,400 yards and 99 catches. I'm not saying he's going to give you that, but can he give you Can he give you what you got in 2020 if he plays 12 to 15 games? Over 50 catches, 700 to 800 yards. Maybe he gives you 4 or 5 touchdowns. I don't think that's out of the realm of possibility. If healthy, Julio can still play. Quite frankly, a fully healthy Julio is probably pretty easily your number 2 receiver. I think Darnell Mooney is probably going to elevate himself where he would be better than a healthy Julio this year. But after that, I think he's better than Pringle if he's healthy. We don't know nearly enough about Velus Jones Jr. The rest of these guys are competing for roster spots. I think if Julio were to get on board and get healthy, you've got Mooney and Julio on the outside, Pringle and Velus Jones as your kind of secondary weapons, you're feeling a lot better about this position if you were to go get a Julio Jones. So I'm interested. I can't imagine it would be that expensive at this point in NFL free agency, so why not go get in Julio? $3-4 million, maybe incentives up to 6 or 7. You got over $20 million left to work with if you're Ryan Poles. I know you want to roll some of that over, but if you could get Julio on board, I would absolutely do it. Would you take a chance on Julio? Type Y for yes. Type in for no. Let us know in the comments down below. I think I would. I would like to take a chance. Pin comment on today's show, Y for yes or in for no. Next up, could the Bears trade Roquan Smith? This is fake news. This is such a bad idea, and quite frankly, one that I just don't see there's any scenario where this would happen, at least not right now. Trading Roquan Smith does not make any sense because if you're Ryan Poles, you're trying to build a roster with blue-chip players. Roquan Smith might be the biggest blue-chip player that you currently have until Justin Fields proves he can be that. I think Roquan is that guy. This also came from Bleacher Report. I like the Julio idea. I don't like this one. Now, he is entering the final year of his contract. He's eligible for a contract extension, but you're talking about arguably the best player on this football team right now that lacks elite top-end players in terms of volume of them. You don't have a ton of blue-chip guys. Roquan is one of them. Christopher Knox of Bleacher Report had to say this: before you get angry, Bears fans, too late. Hear me out. Linebacker Roquan Smith is absolutely the sort of defender Chicago should build around long term. He's one of the league's most underrated linebackers and was arguably one of the Pro Bowl's biggest snubs in 2021. Yeah, no one cares about the Pro Bowl. He also added this. This is when I'm just lost. However, the 25-year-old is also set to play on the 5th-year option in 2022, and if he doesn't receive a contract extension soon, he could be on his way out the door in 2023. If the Bears are on the fence, you can bet that another contender would love to have Smith in its lineup. A trade could potentially net Chicago a second or even a first-round pick in return. Let me just first say this. I don't see this at all. This makes no sense. Number 2, a second-round pick? Like, if you're not committed to Roquan, you better get a first back. So the idea that you wouldn't even take a first, you would settle for a second, really makes no sense. I don't get this at all. Could you maybe talk me into, like, if you're trading him to Seattle for, like, DK Metcalf or something like that? Okay, that's a little different because you're trading defense for offense. But even then, your linebacking core is incredibly thin. This doesn't make any sense. You have a blue-chip player in Roquan. You know what he is. Just pay him. I mean, and by the way, the risk of him leaving, have you heard of the franchise tag, Christopher Knox? The Bears are in no risk of losing Roquan at this point in time. If they want to keep him, he's here. It's as simple as that. Should the Bears trade Roquan Smith? I'm typing K for keep, but if you think they should, type T for trade. I obviously want to keep him in Chicago for the foreseeable future. Out of all the guys that Poles and Eberflus did not handpick, he's probably the top guy I want to keep, unless Justin Fields obviously really, really pans out, and I think he will. That would make Smith number 2 in that case. But at this point in time, I'm not doing anything with Roquan Smith. What I am doing is going live on Call-In every single week to talk about the Chicago Bears. We go live after our Tuesday live shows. So subscribe, download the app on iOS or Android, and join us. It's like Twitter Spaces, but even better. It's got a live chat feature, caller queue. You hop in there. I pod you guys up and you ask me your questions. We talk some Bears football. It's a more I guess, intimate way to talk Bears with you guys. I love answering your questions on our mailbags on YouTube, but to actually hear your voices, and I feel like I can connect with you guys more. You guys can connect with me. Your chance to call in and talk about the Bears with yours truly, chatsports.com/BearsCallin. That's the place to go subscribe to Bears Now on the Callin app. Download on iOS or Android, search for Bears Now. Go subscribe. That's another way to find it as well. Roquan Smith is one of the best linebackers in the NFL. Just a few more thoughts here. I mean, the numbers he put up last year were kind of ridiculous. 163 tackles, 12 tackles for loss, 3 pass breakups, 1 interception, also had 3 sacks. I mean, he does a little bit of everything. This is a player you build around, which Knox said, but then he was like, oh, you could lose him, though. It's risky. No, it's not. Just pay him. It's not risky. You have plenty of cap space next year. You structure it where the new contract begins next year, and you're good to go. It's as simple as that. So I'm keeping Roquan. So at the end of the day, that's kind of end of story there. I'm not trading Smith at this point in time. What's your favorite spot to go on vacation? If you're not aware, I am leaving for Italy, so I'll be gone for the next couple of weeks, but I want to hear it from you guys, your favorite vacation spot, and yeah, don't worry, I know a lot of you guys are like, oh no, what am I going to do? No Bears videos. We're going to have you covered as well, so let me know your favorite spot and subscribe because we'll have videos while you're gone. You want to make me happy? How about let's get to 49,000 subscribers by the time I get back? We're about 300 and some change away. Let's get to 49,000. We'll still have videos out for you guys either from me or from Matthew Peterson. He's going to fill in on a couple of shows as well, so show him some love when he hosts. YouTube.com/BearsNow. Hit that subscribe button right now. All right, final rumor on today's Bears Rumors Roundup. How about sign Justin Houston, the veteran edge rusher? I'll also go two Smokin' Jays here. I do think it's a possibility. We'll have to wait and see. And I do think it becomes more of a possibility. And by the way, NBC Sports Chicago had this one. Josh Rocca talked about a couple of free agents. I wanted to talk about Houston specifically here. If Robert Quinn were to get traded or just simply not show up at training camp and you don't know if he's going to be a part of this thing, signing a guy like Houston makes sense for a couple reasons. One, he's still a solid player. Two, he has connections to this regime. He played under Matt Eberflus in 2019 and 20 for the Indianapolis Colts when Eberflus was the DC. Ryan Poles knows him from Houston's time in Kansas City. And by the way, last time Houston was with Eberflus, he was good. 2 seasons, 19 sacks. That wasn't long ago, 2019 and 20. Last year he had 4.5 sacks for the Baltimore Ravens, but still a productive player. He can get after the quarterback. He's probably best suited as like a number 3 edge rusher, but he's still solid. If Robert Quinn is out of the picture and maybe you're not feeling great about Dominic Robinson just yet, the rookie out of Miami of Ohio, I think Justin Houston could come in here on a cheapish 1-year deal and give you some solid production. Let's say Quinn is not there. You replace him with Al-Qadim Muhammad in the starting lineup. Travis Gibson's your other starting edge. Then Justin Houston can be your 3rd guy. And that way Robinson is just your 4th edge as he continues to develop. If Quinn gets traded, I think Houston's an excellent pickup. I really, really do. So keep an eye on this one. Baltimore's been linked to bringing him back. A couple other teams have been in the mix as well. But I do think the Bears could be a team to monitor here, especially if Quinn does not report to training camp. So we'll see what happens over the next couple of weeks. But there could be some movement here on this Bears roster. Would you sign Justin Houston? Type S for sign, type P for pass. Curious to see where you guys land on this one down in the comments section below. S for sign or P for pass. Make sure you guys are subscribed over on the Callin app, chatsports.com/BearsCallin. Just a quick reminder for you guys to go give us a follow over there. Audio, social podcasting. It's like Twitter Spaces. It's kind of like sports radio. You listen to your favorite host, you call into the show, you chop it up back and forth. It's a good time. Chatsports.com/BearsCallin. More subs we get, we're going to get to do some live post-game shows during the football season. All right, we'll get some shout-outs here. Do you want Justin Houston, especially if Robert Quinn leaves? Tyler Smith says sign. Billy says sign. Kurt says sign. Mark says sign. Pass on Muh. He says you got a tank. Motherfucking Mike. Danny says pass. Alexi says pass. Don Burr in the chat. T. Will says sign. Richard says sign. So mostly signs, but a few passes as well. All right, sack up because it's mailbag time using hashtag Bears or Super Chat. 3 segments to go, and then we'll go live on call-in around 4 o'clock Central Time. Hashtag Bears or Super Chat. Get your questions in, ask them up, and Producer Coop will be able to get as many of those on screen as possible. So use hashtag Bears or Super Chat, and we will answer all of your questions coming up on today's show. So whatever questions you have, we're going to answer them. You good, Coop? All right, let me see here. Amos got a question coming in. A few more shout-outs. Travis says sign. Anthony says pass. Amber says pass as well. The Lego Brothers says sign. All right, hashtag Bears. If you don't use the hashtag, like Mike, I see you asking a question without the hashtag. Got to use that hashtag, and we'll answer all of your questions. Mailbag coming up here on Chicago Bears Now, but here's the deal. Subscribe to the channel and turn on those notifications. I know a lot of you folks that watch our videos and are subscribed. Number one, thank you guys so much, but a very small percentage of you guys have turned on notifications. What does that do? If you hit that notification bell and select all, you're going to get a noti on your phone every single time we publish a video or go live. Right now, if you don't have noties on, you may not get that. So hit that sub button if you haven't already. Turn on those notifications. That way you never miss a video here at Chicago Bears Now. Welcome into the show. Harrison Graham here, ready and eager to answer all of your questions. We'll kick things off with Tyler Smith as he sends in a question. Trade Robert Quinn to the Chiefs for a 2nd and a 6th. I could see that for both sides. Chiefs need an edge rusher. Robert Quinn may or may not be happy in Chicago. I would take that offer if I was the Bears. I'm not sure that the Chiefs would send a 2nd for him. 3rd and a 6th? Maybe that's more of the range, but I'm very fascinated to see come July 26th, will Robert Quinn report to training camp? We'll find out. Matt Nagy, what's up, Coach? Does Justin Fields make the Pro Bowl in his 2nd season? Trubisky did. Yeah, he's like a 3rd alternate, but I mean, we'll see, right? Obviously, if they have alternates, there's a good chance that he will. They usually do have alternates. We'll have to wait and see. He's got to stay healthy. He's got to improve, obviously. Luke Getsy hopefully will play to his strengths unlike you did, Coach. So, buckle up, stay tuned, and enjoy holding that clipboard in Kansas City. Wayne Kerr saw the Vegas odds have the Bears over under at 6.5 wins. Is this what you were laughing at earlier? Where do you fall with the Bears win total? Well, Wayne Kerr, I saw this too, actually. Over under 6.5 wins. I kind of get where the national media and narrative is coming from in a sense, because on paper you're like, have the Bears improved? I'm hammering the over, though, because what people are not accounting for is new regime, new coaching staff, and by the way, a much easier schedule. The Bears won 6 games last year with the 2nd hardest in the schedule in the NFL. This year they have the 2nd easiest, and with the coaching staff that was lost. Matt Nagy was a lost individual. He did not know which buttons to press, and that team still won 6 games, and they really should have won 8. They should have beat Pittsburgh and Baltimore. That would have made them an 8-win team. I think the over is very possible, and quite frankly, I think it's likely. I think they will win at least 7 games, so I'm hammering the over 6.5. Where do you guys fall into line here? Over under 6.5 wins for the Bears this year. Type O for over, type U for under. This will be the pen comment on today's show. Over under 6.5 dubs for the Bears in 2022. All right, Funkbringer with the super chat, kicking things off. Appreciate that. With the national media roasting us, could they be setting Eberflus up for a possible Coach of the Year nomination? We will prove the media wrong. Bear down. First of all, get the bear downs going in the comments. Second of all, look, the national media is like, yeah, it's going to win 3-4 games. I mean, if this team went like 9-8, Eberflus would have a pretty strong case, because one thing I will agree with the national media on is on paper, this roster isn't great. This isn't like a top 10 roster in the NFL. It's probably a bottom 10 roster overall, but I think there's some good young talent. I think this coaching staff's going to help. I think the schedule's manageable. So, yeah, I think it's possible, Funkbringer. If everybody's saying 5-6 wins and this team wins 9 games or something like that, you'd have to put Matt Eberflus in the Coach of the Year conversation. Evan Hart, where do you see Ebner's role in 2 years? Okay, 2 years from now, so 2024. Maybe a 1-2 punch of Khalil Herbert and Treston Ebner. If David Montgomery's out of the picture, I think Ebner's role next year would already be pretty high. I think he'll have a role this year on special teams, then somewhat out of the backfield as well. So RB2 in a couple years, Evan Hart also contributing on special teams. That's kind of what I see. Mike992Z asks, will Luke Getsy finally bring a competent screen game to the Bears? A big part of this Shanahan offense is the screen game, so I hope so. It's been lacking for years in this offense. Nagy used it pretty well in 2018, and then he just went away from it. Now, losing Tariq Cohen, in 2020 and not having him last year, that certainly hurt, but David Montgomery can run the screen game. You talk about Treston Ebner. He was an excellent receiving back at Baylor. You can use him in that way as well. I think Khalil Herbert should be able to handle that. If Darrington Evans makes this roster, he's a scat back. So, yeah, you should be able to run the screen game. And what's an easy way to make up for a not-so-great offensive line? Run screens. Get them out on the edge so they're not having to hold up against strong pass rushes. So, yeah, I expect 3 to 5 screen plays per game, quite frankly. Do you trust Luke Getsy? Type T for trust, type D for don't. Cast your votes down in the comments section. Hopefully he runs some screens this year. Give us a follow over on Rumble for some free and uncensored Bears content. Also, you can find other sports creators, news anchors, politics, tech, business, other content creators as well. A cool feature of Rumble is you can keep listening to our show while keeping other apps open. Bonus Bears videos from time to time as well. Rumble.com/Bears now. Help us out. Give us a follow over on that platform. Jonathan Shepard is next up here. Will Jack Sanborn step into the Sam linebacker position with recent news? Will he even make it to the 53-man? So I assume the recent news you're referring to is Matt Adams getting arrested a couple weeks back. I don't view Adams as a starter anyway. I have him penciled in there, but A, I think this team's going to run a lot of nickel, and B, I'd be surprised if Adams was this team's number 3 linebacker. I do think Sanborn has a good shot of making this roster. I'd like him to be the Sam linebacker. He was a good player at Wisconsin. Nick is next up here, #Bears. Trade Quinn in a second to the Seahawks for DK. Done. I don't think the Seahawks would do it. Seahawks are tanking. Why do they want a 32-year-old expensive pass rusher and only a second-round pick for DK? So I would do that a million times out of a million. I don't think the Seahawks would do it once out of a million. So, hey, if Poles pulls that off, Executive of the Year. Philip Paul Masano, I heard next year's draft class is deep at quarterback and wide receiver. Do you have knowledge on the 2023 class? Yeah, I mean, the quarterbacks, Bryce Young out of Alabama, he's a stud. C.J. Stroud, another Ohio State quarterback who I like C.J. Stroud, but up to this point, he's not the prospect Justin Fields was, at least in my opinion, but he is a good prospect. Van Dyke, is it Tyler Van Dyke out of Miami? He's moving up boards. Will Levis out of Kentucky. Here's the deal on Will Levis. He puts mayonnaise in his coffee. Not interested. A few more quarterbacks in there as well. Spencer Rattler, does he bounce back? Anthony Richardson out of Florida has some potential, but he's raw. Receivers, really good. Obviously, Jackson Smith and Jigba. Jordan Addison, who's at USC now. Boutte out of LSU. I always forget his first name. Keyshawn Boutte, he's really good. Thank you, Producer Coop. And there's a bunch more receivers. Quentin Johnston out of TCU. My alma mater might sneak into round 1. So, yeah, very deep. If you need a quarterback, I hope you don't. There's some options, but there's a lot of receivers as well. Speaking of quarterback, who's your favorite Bears quarterback of all time? Is it Sexy Rexy? Is it Smokin' Jay? Is it Sid Luckman? If you say Sid Luckman, though, and you weren't watching him 80 years ago, then that's cheating a bit. Is it Jim McMahon? Is it Justin Fields? Is it Smokin' Jay Cutler? Let me know. Favorite Bears quarterback of all time. Nicholas Rishi here. Do you think Julio Jones has anything left, and could he bring value to the team if we sign him? I think he could bring value. At worst, he's a guy that's been through the battles. He's played at a high level. He should be able to teach some of these young guys a thing or two. A guy like Velus Jones Jr. could benefit from having a Julio Jones around. At best, maybe he can be an 800 to 1,000-yard receiver. That would surprise me if he was a 1,000-yard guy again. He's just had a few injuries pile up recently, but can he give you a little bit more than what you got in 2020, for example? 50 catches, 770 yards, 3 touchdowns. If he gave you something similar to that, if not a tick more, maybe 60 catches for 800 yards and a handful of touchdowns, that would be awesome. Now, the injuries have piled up. Last year he couldn't stay healthy with the Titans, but I think if he came in here and was healthy, he'd be a solid number 2 receiver. Ron Pandy. Wow. What position do the Bears need most? Name a player, please. Let me see. Offensive line, let's be honest. Dwayne Brown at left tackle, Quentin Spain at right guard, Eric Flowers at right guard, Eric Fisher at left tackle. Those are some free agent options on the offensive line. If you want to trade for someone, Andre Dillard from the Eagles, got to get better up front. Amos Goldberg, I was high on DK to Chicago, but wide receivers coming into the league at such an elite level. Just go get yourself a Jackson Smith and Jigba or Jordan Addison. Don't give up multiple draft picks. Yeah, I mean, that's a good approach. Now, that doesn't help you this year, but yeah, long term, I think drafting a receiver early next year makes a lot of sense. Obviously, we'll see how Mooney continues to grow. I think he's on the cusp of being very, very, very good. Velus Jones, if he can be a key contributor, that would be nice. So, but yeah, these guys are pro-ready pretty quickly at receiver. Alan Melendez, I don't think I trust Sam Mustipher at right guard. Me neither. I think I would rather try my luck with Zach Thomas. Look, if you were hanging me over a bridge today and said, pick a guard to give the Bears the best chance to be successful out of those two, I'd probably pick Thomas because Mustipher stinks. I mean, that's just how it goes. So I would rather go with Zach Thomas, but I would also rather, outside of both those options, just sign a vet. So see what happens. I'm with you, though. I don't like their options there. Hit that subscribe button here on YouTube. It's youtube.com/BearsNow. Turn on those notifications. That way you never, ever miss a video like this mailbag. We'll continue to keep you guys in the loop with the latest Chicago Bears news and rumors as we progress through the 2022 offseason. It's youtube.com/BearsNow. Go ahead and subscribe on YouTube. Subscribe on the Callin app as well, because here in about 30 minutes, we're going to go live on Callin at chatsports.com/BearsCallin. 5 o'clock Eastern, 4 Central, we will be live over there. Be sure to subscribe and join us. You can also download the app on iOS or Android, so if you have an iPhone and Android, download the app, search Bears Now. You'll find us there. We're going to go live here in about half an hour, so subscribe over there, and we will have you guys covered with all of your questions, and we'll have a little segment over there as well, breaking down some of the Bears rookies. So chatsports.com/BearsCallin. We'll be live taking your calls here in just about 25 or 30 minutes. Quick super chat from my guy, Don Burr. He always mixes it up as a Lions fan. Funkbringer done bumped his head. Dan Campbell, Coach of the Year. Donnie, we'll see. We'll see. You're a real one. I'll give you that. You were loyal to your squad. Okay, so we're going to jump into our next segment here. 5 reasons to believe in Justin Fields, and we will jump into that. I can just kind of hard pause it here, Coop. We'll jump into that here in just a moment. If you're a Justin Fields truther, then like this video, because you guys know by now I am a Justin Fields truther. And on today's show, we're going to break down 5 different reasons why you should believe in the Chicago Bears quarterback. If you already believe in him, all you got to do is hit that thumbs up icon. Today's episode of Chicago Bears Now is presented by Manscaped. Get the best men's grooming products on the planet for 20% off and free shipping at manscaped.com. You plug in the promo code BEARS20. You're going to get that 20% off plus free shipping. Stay nice and clean like Justin Fields, and get the Lawnmower 4.0 today at manscaped.com. All right, 5 reasons to believe in Justin Fields. Look, we've outlined it a lot. Last year was kind of a lost year playing under Matt Nagy, but certainly got some experience, showed some highs, had several lows, but it's year 2 now, new scheme. Here's 5 reasons why you should believe in this young quarterback. All right, number 1, incredible work ethic. Justin Fields is a relentless and tireless worker. We've heard it all off season. We've seen it all off season. Him and Darnell Mooney were getting work in Georgia. Cole Kmet was working with him too. And then all his teammates and coaches talk about it. He is a first in, last to leave guy. Remember that garbage report heading into the draft from Dan Orlovsky? Oh, I hear from a source inside Ohio State that, he's a last one in, first to leave type of guy. There's been no evidence of that in his 2 years here, at least year and a half now, whatever you want to call it. Last year's a rookie, and this year, players and coaches have lauded his work ethic. Eberflus has talked about it. Getsy has talked about it. Darnell Mooney has talked about how they've been pushing each other about being the last one in the weight room on off days and stuff like that, getting in work on off days. Look, we don't know if Justin Fields is going to work out or not, but it won't be for a lack of trying. This guy is putting in the work. He's working on his mechanics this offseason tirelessly, so you don't have to worry about that. This is not a Jamarcus Russell situation where the work is not being put in. That is not the case. Number 2, he's a natural-born leader. Ryan Day talked about this when he was at Ohio State, his former college coach. Fields has even kind of talked about how it was awkward and uncomfortable for him last year because he got drafted in the first round and he's been so used to being the guy and being that leader. He felt like he couldn't do that with Andy Dalton still on the roster and being named the starter. You can't lead that much if you're not starting. Says he's more comfortable this year being that leader, being that guy that players want to look up to. And you can tell that is something that happens. Players gravitate toward this guy. You can hear it based on how they talk about it. I mean, a guy like Ryan Griffin, a veteran tight end who's been in this league for several years, says, yeah, that's our guy. That's the leader of this football team. That means something, okay? He is evolving into this team's leader. He's a natural-born leader. It's not difficult for him to lead. There's a lot of great athletes that don't have great leadership skills. I don't think that's an issue with Justin Fields. I think people can rally around him. He can be that guy that picks teammates up. All right, I was just feeling it. Sometimes I'm just sitting at home and, I just start thinking FGB. And then my wife's like, what are you talking about? I'm like, fuck the Packers. That's what I'm talking about. So if you can't stand the Packers, type FGB in the comments down below. No one likes Green Bay. Get the FGBs rolling. All right, Manscaped. Appreciate those guys for sponsoring today's show. The best men's grooming products out there. Aaron Rodgers ain't going to Manscaped. It's just an absolute bush downstairs for him. Don't be like that. Clean the bush up with the Lawnmower 4.0. You can get 20% off plus free shipping when you head over to manscaped.com. Use promo code BEARS20. Look at this thing. Look how efficient the lawnmower is. You got bush? Well, guess what? Not anymore, because the lawnmower cleans it up with that advanced skincare technology. You're going to avoid those cuts, those burns after you shave sometimes. I tried a bunch of different products before Manscaped, and I was like, you know what? I'm going to have a bush, because I'd rather have a bush than not be feeling nice down there. But now that's no longer the case when I shave. Shout out to Manscaped. 20% off plus free shipping. Manscaped.com, promo code BEARS20. Check the comments, check the description. The link and the promo code are in there. Okay, next up, why to believe in Fields. The physical tools are there. So, Harrison, well, his work ethic doesn't matter if he can't do this. Well, he can make all the throws. He can move around. His physical tools are exactly what you want. He's 6'3", 230 pounds, runs like a receiver, and is built like a linebacker. I mean, he can do it all. He can make all the throws. He can change the arm angle. The deep ball, I think, is one of the best in the NFL. Advanced metrics will tell you last year he was a well above deep ball thrower in the National Football League. It's just dumbass Matt Nagy didn't do it enough, didn't have him do it enough, and didn't have play action enough, that's for sure. He's been tightening the release as well. You can see on this next photo him winding up for a deep ball. That's dropping it in the bucket, baby, as well. So he can do all that. We know about the mobility. Justin Fields is an absolute weapon when he's using his legs to run around and scramble, but to also get on the edge and throw the football downfield. We got to see more of that this year, which we'll talk about in our next point. But remember that game against the Niners? He had several strong scrambles, especially that crazy one on fourth down where he reversed field, had a couple of spin moves, and scored a key touchdown in that game to give the Bears a chance. So he did that. You get him on the edge, you can throw on the run. So the physical tools are absolutely there. Now, you can't just have a strong arm and be able to run and say, yeah, I can play quarterback. There's a lot more that goes into it, but he is capable. That's the point I am making. He won't not make it because he lacks arm strength or something like that. All that stuff is there for Justin Fields. Hit that subscribe button here on YouTube. When Bears news drops, we will have you covered with the latest Chicago Bears news and rumors. So go ahead and subscribe, youtube.com/BearsNow. Hit that subscribe button, and we will continue to bring you the latest headlines around this football team. All right, two more points here. This new system, at least what we're hearing about it and what it's supposed to look like, should fit him very, very well in terms of his skill set. That Shanahan zone, kind of wide zone running scheme, get the run game going, and then a lot of play action, which is what suits Fields. He is a great play action quarterback, and I expect a lot of that this year. And I expect to get Fields on the move. Get him on the move and let him shine. I'm not saying every play needs to be kind of a street ball type of play where it's like, hey, if it breaks down, just do something crazy. But he can do that as well. I feel like Nagy's offense was just like too stiff, right? We're like, all right, you got to do a 5-step drop here, get the ball there, this and that. Like, sometimes you just got to let an athlete make a play. And Justin Fields can do a lot of that for you as a runner and as a play-action quarterback. If something breaks down, he can make something happen for you. So I'm excited to see that happen. I think Luke Getsy will put him in spots to succeed. Now it's up to Getsy actually being a good play caller. I think the system will be in place. Can he call the right plays at the right time? And can Justin Fields execute those plays? Obviously, that's going to be critical to this team's success. Do you trust Luke Getsy? Type T for trust, type D for don't, type IDK for I don't know yet, because we haven't seen him call a play yet for the Chicago Bears. All right, last point is the Bears themselves believe in him. Regardless of this national media narrative of they haven't done enough, that means they don't believe in him. They're tanking to get a quarterback next year. I mean, we've heard it all this offseason. The Bears themselves have raved about Justin Fields in terms of his work ethic, which we talked about, his improvements, mechanics, we referred to that, his ability to lead, we talked about that as well. You hear Matt Eberflus, you hear Luke Getsy, you hear his teammates, you hear Ryan Poles, they all believe in him. So it's one of two things. One, they're either lying to just create positive energy around the Bears, which, sure, teams play the PR game, but for a new regime to come in here, hey, let's conspire and just tell everybody we believe in Fields. We really don't. We're going to tank and draft Bryce Young next year. I don't see that's not the case here. Or number two, they're actually fired up about him, which is what I think is happening here. I think they're excited about his potential. They're excited to see what he can do. They've seen a lot of that this offseason. Now it's about putting it all together, continue to install the offense, and go make some plays and go play some football here in the next month and a half. All right, so there you go. 5 reasons why you should believe in Justin Fields as the Chicago Bears quarterback. Now, the question is, will Fields pan out as the Bears franchise quarterback? Like, is he going to be here for the next decade and ball out for the Bears? Type Y for yes, type N for no. I think we certainly all hope so at the end of the day. Hit that subscribe button because speaking of Fields making plays, we do live watch parties every single Sunday in the fall. We'll have a live scoreboard up. I'm doing play-by-play, and we have a lot of fun during those. So subscribe because football season's almost here, and we'll have some live watch parties. All right, will Justin Fields pan out as the franchise quarterback? Y for yes, N for no. And then we've got one more mailbag before we go live exclusively on call-in. So stay tuned for that coming up in here in about 12, 15 minutes or so. Y for yes, N for no. Will Justin Fields pan out? Tim Baker says yes. Michael says yes. Philip says yes. Billy says yes. Notorious says yes. Amos says yes. Mr. Inglewood, Santos, TMH, MS all saying yes. Daryl says he thinks he will. Duke says I don't know. Don Burr says Bears have never had a real QB and still don't. Have fun with Jared Goff. NCAA 14 League podcast says yes. That sounds interesting. Funkbringer says yes. Gustavo says yes. Hell yes from Nicholas Ritchie as well. MS says looking good. Heart emoji eyes. Okay, MS. Tyrone Stamp says yes. Mike says yes. Kenny says yes as well. Appreciate everybody. By the way, Don Burr, producer Coop, usually it's producer Jack with us. He's convinced you're a Bears fan too. That's Jack's theory, so hey, don't Don't shoot the messenger. Just blame Coop for that one. All right, sack up, guys. One more mailbag to go. Hashtag Bears or Super Chat, and we will answer all of your questions leading up to a couple minutes before 4 o'clock, and then we will go live on the call-in app. So hashtag Bears or Super Chat. Load them up, and we will answer all those questions as well. Don Burr says Bustin Fields equals Jamarcus Russell. Yeah, Jamarcus Russell was 330 pounds and didn't even watch tape when the Raiders sent home a VHS of film. So, yeah, it was blank, and they were like, yeah, what did you notice on this film? And he started making shit up, and they're like, yeah, Jamarcus, it was blank. So we know you didn't watch it. So hashtag Bears or Super Chat. It is mailbag time. Mailbag time here on Chicago Bears Now. I am your host, Harrison Graham. Hit that subscribe button here on the channel, youtube.com/BearsNow, and we will have you covered with more videos leading up to training camp. All right, load up those questions, hashtag Bears or Super Chat. We'll answer as many as we can. Anthony is first up. Why are we so delusional about draft pick value when the odds of a player busting by far exceed being on elite talent? 2 out of every 3 of every round never pan out. Trade for DK. Okay, I see what you're saying. But, I mean, if you're trading a first-round pick and a second round or a first and a third for DK, like, yeah, you're getting a sure thing, but then your chances of hitting any players in that draft are almost nil because you've traded 2 premium picks. So there's 2 sides to a coin, Anthony. The Gabe, pre-record thoughts for the Bears. Preseason record, or like 2-1, 1-2? Oh, for the whole season? All right, the Gabe. I don't know. I see anywhere from, I think the floor is like 6 wins and the ceiling's 10 wins. Somewhere in there. I think the schedule's easy enough where this team should win 6 or 7 games, and if Fields makes enough strides, maybe they could push for 9 or 10. But obviously, that'll depend on Fields' development. Amos Goldberg, Justin Fields had some awesome plays last year. If the offense is built around his strengths, doesn't that promise a huge year from Fields? I mean, nothing's a guarantee, right? He certainly has to own some of his inconsistencies from a year ago, even though I think the coaches put him in a pretty horrible position at times. But yeah, I mean, if you play around his strengths, play action, mobility, throws down the field, especially vertical passing game, that should lead to success, but guys got to play well around him. Getsy's got to call the right plays at the right time, and Fields himself has to make the plays. It's a team effort. There's no doubt about it. Jake Morris, top position battles to watch at training camp. I got a couple in mind here, and there's certainly a lot. You could say wide receiver. You could say something like, edge, especially if Robert Quinn isn't there. What I'm going to say, 2 spots. Offensive line, first and foremost. Fascinated to see who the opening 5 are in week 1. Who's going to start for this group? Are they going to sign a veteran to help? I still think that's possible. Nickel corner is number 2. It seems like Thomas Graham's going to get a real opportunity to take the nickel job over veteran Tavon Young, who missed most of the offseason program. So I think those are 2 spots. The entire offensive line outside of center and left guard, I believe, which is Lucas Patrick and Cody White here. I think left tackle, right guard, and right tackle are up for grabs. And then nickel corner with Thomas Graham Jr. and Tavon Young. So we'll see how those 2 spots break down, but obviously a lot of competition this year at training camp. Who's ready for it? I'm ready for training camp because then, once training camp here, football's kind of back. You've got real football to talk about, then preseason game hits, then all of a sudden it's week 1. It all happens very quick. The blur from July 26th, the opening of camp, to week 1, it's about 6 weeks, and boom, you're ready to go. Type me if you're ready for training camp down in the comments below. Coach Nagy's back. If Justin struggles again this season, will all the Nagy hate finally come to an end? I don't think it would all come to an end. But if Fields is bad this year and starts next year and is bad again, then yeah, maybe there'd be some conversation of, well, maybe Fields just wasn't the guy. But I think Matt Nagy had a lot of issues, not just putting Justin Fields in a bad position. Snowden Neal, we have to get Tevin on the starting line, right? I hope so, but listen, I mean, the best 5 got to play. If he's one of those, great. I hope he is. The Bears traded up in the second round to get him last year, and I actually liked the move, to be honest. I won't fault Pace for that one. But he was getting second-team reps for a reason toward the second half of the offseason program. I don't know if that's to send a message. I don't know if that's because he's just not that good, or maybe they're trying to, really kind of ramp him up. Be like, hey, man, come on. We're trying to see if you can find another gear. I hope he's in there. I think that's helpful if he's a starter. If not, that's not a great sign because this is not a great offensive line. Chris Patel, will the Bears go big in 2023? I hope so. I mean, they should have a lot of cap space. They'll obviously have a first-round pick once again. I think, especially if Fields proves this year that he can be the franchise quarterback, then I would expect an aggressive mindset for the 2023 offseason. Benjamin Temple, where would you rank our secondary with the new rookies? So PFF ranked the Bears secondary 30th out of 32, which I totally disagree with. But I think the potential is for this secondary to be top half of the league, maybe sneaky top 10. Look, Jalen Johnson is a legit corner, okay? You've got Jaquan Brisker and Kyler Gordon coming in as rookies. I think both those guys will be upgrades from what you had at strong safety and Tayshaun Gibson and CB2 and Kendall Vilder. So if that's the case, you've gotten better there. Eddie Jackson should bounce back. He shouldn't play as bad as he has the last 2 years. I think Brisker will help. And then Thomas Graham and Tavon Young should be better options than Duke Shelley at nickel. You should get better at every spot on your secondary. And if that's the case, that could add up to being a pretty good group. Follow Bears Now on Callin because we go live on the Callin app every single week. So give us a subscription there. It's free. Chatsports.com/BearsCallin. What is the Callin app? It's an audio social podcasting app. There's a caller queue where you guys can hop in the queue. I pod you guys up. You ask me your questions. We chop up some Bears football back and forth. We get to know each other a little better, which I'm a fan of. There's a live chat component as well. The more subs we get over there, we're going to be able to do call-in post-game shows during the fall, which I can't wait for. I want to hear your guys' thoughts immediately following Bears games. Chatsports.com/BearsCallin, your opportunity to call into the show and sound off. Larry Rosen, go get DK Metcalf now. Give up a first and third next year. Stop with the polls BS. Look what the Rams have done with giving up future draft capital. Here's the thing, Larry. They didn't start getting crazy aggressive until they already had a foundation, right? They went to the Super Bowl with Jared Goff, and that roster was mostly built on draft picks. Goff, Aaron Donald, Todd Gurley, Robert Woods. Those are players they all drafted and groomed. And then when they realized, okay, Goff, he got us here. We're not going to win a Super Bowl with him. Boom, you go get Matthew Stafford. You go get Von Miller. You go get Jalen Ramsey. You go make all these moves, and then you go win a Super Bowl. You don't trade crazy draft assets coming off a 6-11 season. Now, that doesn't mean I wouldn't trade for DK Metcalf, but the Rams built the foundation, and then they made those type of moves. It's apples and oranges. It's not the same. TD Productions, what would you say is the best case scenario for drafting, signing, trading for a receiver next offseason? I mean, best case, you draft one of those studs like Jackson Smith and Jigba, Jordan Addison, Boutte, or one of these other guys, and you pair that with a top-tier free agent like a DK if the Seahawks let him go, Deebo Samuel, or if Darnell Mooney takes another step, you just extend him because he'll be up for an extension plus draft one of these guys. So I think something like that, TD Productions. Tech is my life. Who do you think will be the best player on the team this season? If I had to guess, Roquan, but I think here are candidates that have a chance to be the best player on the team. Roquan Smith, Justin Fields, David Montgomery, Robert Quinn, good one, Coop, and I'll throw Jalen Johnson in there. Those are probably the 5 guys that could be the best pure player on the team. If I had to guess, Roquan's the heavy favorite. Quinn's in there if he shows up, and then Fields, if he pans out, it turns out to be the guy, then obviously if he takes a huge step and plays well, he could be the best and most impactful player. All right, Bears fans, Chicago, home of pizza, we know that. Better pizza topping. P for pepperoni, S for sausage. Let's hear from you guys in the comments section, and I'm curious. I want to know, P for pepperoni or S for sausage? Jake with a question. Do you think they're going to have Fields start all the preseason games and have most, if not all, the camp reps? He'll definitely have pretty much all the camp reps. I mean, sure, Simeon will get a few as the backup, but he's going to get most of those. Matt Eberflus, when we last heard from him in early June, said he has not made a decision on preseason, how much, if at all, starters will play. I'd like to see them play some. This is a young football team, guys that need reps. Fields needs reps in this offense, but we'll see. Every coach has a different philosophy on the preseason. NCAA 14 League podcast. I can't wait for the new game to come out. How will Jalen Johnson and Kyler Gordon do alongside each other? I think the potential is to be a really good tandem. Johnson is a good player that's hoping to become a great player this year. Kyler Gordon has a ton of potential. I think he was worthy. He had a first-round pick. You got him in the second round. Potential's huge. Gordon's got to, be healthy. He missed some of the offseason stuff, but I think there's real upside for this pairing. Mr. Inglewood, Travis Gibson says that Dominique Robinson kid is already ahead of him. Your thoughts? So he meant from where he was as a rookie. Travis Gibson is certainly the better player right now, but you also have to remember, when he was a rookie, he was inactive for over half the year. So if Robinson's ahead of him, that could mean all sorts of things. That, okay, he's worthy of being active, but is he ready to play and contribute at a high level? Because Gibson was not as a rookie, broke out last year. But at least he's further along than that, right? That tells me, he'll get some opportunities, and I hope that is the case for Dominique Robinson. All right, subscribe on Callin, chatsports.com/BearsCallin, because we go live after our live shows on Tuesday to answer all of your questions. Chatsports.com/BearsCallin. You can download the Callin app on iOS and Android for free. All right, we're about to go live here on the Callin app, so subscribe and join us. I'll go live on my phone in just a second. We'll get the updated link in there as well. Let's go back to pepperoni and sausage. I want to see what people are saying there. Pepperoni or sausage, better topping here. I'll go back and give some shout-outs here. Let's see. Pepperoni from NCAA, pepperoni. Philip says sausage. Tyler says sausage. I'm seeing more pepperonis. Arachella, Daryl, William. I think so, right? Coop says pepperoni. Now,
no doubt.
I like sausage with pepperoni. I'll put it this way. If I'm only getting one topping, it's always pepperoni. But if I get two toppings, it's always pepperoni and sausage. So I think they go well together, but if you only get one, it's got to be pepperoni. It's just, those are the rules. All right, we're about to go live on the Callin app. I'm going to push it live here in just a second. So stick with us here. And we'll take one call probably here while we're still live on YouTube and Rumble. That way you guys can get a feel. And then we'll sign off on YouTube and Rumble and stay live here on Callin. So I'm going to go ahead and push it live a little bit early here. Start the room. Let's see here. All right, looks like we're live here on the Callin app. Go ahead and hop in the caller queue. We'll get that new link in the live chat as well. Pepper it in there a couple times. Join in on the fun. And we'll have some fun here. So let's go. Hop in there. Already got a few listeners lined up. Hop in the caller queue if you have any questions. We'll also have a little segment breaking down some of the Bears rookies for this upcoming season. I see Chicago Sports in there. Nick, Tommy, Kyle. We got Paleo, Stan in there as well. Keenan in the chat also. So hop in here and let's get it going. We'll do a little call here before we sign off on YouTube and Rumble, and then we'll get it going here. Let's see. Tommy Gunn, let's go ahead and pod you up. Tommy, welcome into Bears Now on the Callin app.
What's going on, Harrison?
What's good?
Man, something that I've been wondering for a while. I've been watching for years now, and something I don't think I ever got answered. What made you a Bears fan? Are you from Chicago or?
I'm actually not from Chicago. I'm from Texas. When I got the job at Chat Sports, started covering the Bears. That was I went to my bosses and said, I think this could be a fun team to cover. I liked some of the stuff they were doing at the time. I've always been attracted to their defense. Obviously, the the offense, we all want it to improve. So did not grow up in Chicago, but a team I've always watched from afar. And now it's a dream come true getting to cover and talk about this team. It's been a lot of fun, and can't wait for it to continue to grow.
That's awesome. Well, bear down.
Bear down, FGB. Appreciate that, Tommy. So there he goes, Tommy. That's kind of a taste for you guys still on YouTube, on Rumble. We take calls. We answer your questions. It's a whole lot of fun. So that is kind of what you can expect. I see several listeners in there. If you want to hop in and get your question answered, we will answer as many of those as we can in just a moment. If you're on YouTube, on Rumble, the link is in the YouTube live chat. I am going to sign off on YouTube and Rumble. Reminder, I leave for Italy tonight, so I'm going to be gone for the next couple weeks, but we'll have several videos that go out during that time. We'll have Matthew Peterson, one of our hosts here at Chat Sports, pinch hit for me a couple of times. So he'll get you caught up on some news and rumors that go down while we are gone. So I'm Harrison Graham signing off. Follow me on on social media at HGrahamNFL, Twitter and Instagram. Staying live on Callin, signing off on YouTube and on Rumble.